Now we are using this one to find the electric field intensity due to the line charge with the help of the Gauss law. With the help of the Gauss law. Now let me take the line charge, infinity line charge. The infinity line charge is placed on the z-axis. The infinity line charge is placed on the z-axis as shown in the figure here. This is the z-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. X, y, z. On the z-axis we are keeping the infinity line charge. This one is the infinity line charge. If we take the example for the infinity line charge is the transmission line. Long length of the conductor on which charge is presented, that we can take it as a infinity line charge. See here the infinity line charge is nothing but a long length. Here the meaning is the long length of the conductor which has a some amount of the charge. The charge on a conductor is defined as a line charge density that is equal to the rho L coulombs per meter. That is the unit. See here we have taken the line charge which is placed on the z-axis. Now we want to find out what is the electric field intensity due to this line charge. Take the some point. This is the point P at which we are going to calculate the electric field intensity. We are not directly finding the electric field intensity from the Gauss law. First we are finding the electric flux density at a point P. Already we know the relation between the flux density and electric field intensity. Once we know the flux density, from that one we are calculating the electric field intensity. So here, to find the flux density at this point, we have to take the Gaussian surface. Here, what is the Gaussian surface we have taken means, we have taken the closed cylindrical cylinder. This is the Gaussian surface. The surface of the cylinder should be passes to the point where we have to find out the flux density. This is the cylinder. This is the Gaussian surface. So how much length we have taken means here the radius of the cylinder you take it as a small a. The radius of the cylinder you have to take it as a small a. See here we have taken as the radius of cylinder small a. How much radius we have to take means we have to select the cylinder such a way that where we have to find out the electric field intensity, that point should be placed on the surface. Now at this point you consider this is the point P. Now at this point you consider the differential surface area. This is the differential surface area ds. See here the differential surface area is nothing but a small surface area that is shown in the figure. So after identifying the differential surface area, see here we identify the differential surface area at a point P. So how is it means the differential surface area always perpendicular to the radius of a cylinder. That's why here you take the one unit vector AR bar. AR bar is nothing but a unit vector in the direction of radius of a cylinder. See here ds is nothing but this is the ds. The differential surface area in this case is nothing but the differential surface area which is perpendicular to the radius of cylinder. Radius of a cylinder. Next, take L is the length of the cylinder. L is nothing but a length of the cylinder. Now here, now we are going to apply the Gauss law for this one. Surface integral of d bar dot ds bar equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. To represent the enclosed charge, here we have taken the q suffix c, nothing but the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. The charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. See here, the surface integral. This is the surface, closed surface integral of d bar dot ds. See, what is the surface we have taken here means that is Gaussian surface. In this case, we have taken the Gaussian surface as a cylinder. We have taken the Gaussian surface as a cylinder. So now this integration part, this surface integral of d bar dot ds is representing the how much flux is leaving from this surface, lateral surface. Same manner, how much flux is leaving from the top surface and how much flux is leaving from the bottom surface. That is representing the total flux leaving from the Gaussian surface. In this case, because we have taken the cylinder, see here cylinder, how much flux is leaving from the lateral, top as well as the bottom. If we add all the fluxes, then it is nothing but the total flux leaving from the Gaussian surface. The total flux leaving from the Gaussian surface. So the same integration we are writing in a sum of the three integrations. One is d bar dot ds bar top, nothing but this integration gives the how much flux is leaving from the top plus d bar dot ds bar bottom. This integration gives the how much flux is leaving from the bottom plus d bar dot ds bar lateral, nothing but sides, equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. The same integration we are splitting into three integrations. One is upwards and another one is bottom downwards and third one is the lateral surface. Lateral surface. Now come to this diagram. In this diagram, we kept the line charge on the z-axis. So whatever the flux coming from the line charge, that is always in the radial direction. In this direction only the flux is there. This is the flux. There is no flux in a upward direction as well as a downward direction. These are the flux lines. These flux lines are representing the, see that we can represent it here with a red lines. These are the flux lines which are coming from the infinity line charge which is placed on the z-axis. Nothing but there is no flux is coming from that crossing the Gaussian surface top as well as there is no flux is crossing the Gaussian surface down. Nothing but there is no flux density here as well as here. There is no flux density top as well as bottom also there is no flux density. If the flux is not there means there is no meaning for the flux density. So these two integrations, top as well as a bottom, becomes a 0. These two values are 0. So why it is 0? There no flux is passing in a upward direction as well as downward direction. This integration is representing the single integration is representing the how much flux is coming from the particular surface. These two surfaces, the flux coming from these two surfaces becomes a 0. The only one integration is there, that is the lateral integration, that is surface integral of d bar dot ds bar equal to qc. This is lateral. This becomes a, this if you take the equation 1, now the 1 becomes a 2. Now 1 becomes a 2 because these two integrations value becomes a 0. These two integration values becomes a 0. Now we are going to find out this integration. See here the d bar, the flux is always in a radial direction. The flux is always in a radial direction. So d bar we can write it as a d bar equal to d into a r bar. This you take it as the equation 3. See, because the direction of the flux is same as the direction of the flux density. The flux is always in a radial direction in a cylindrical coordinate system. That's why we represent the d bar equal to d into a bar. Now the ds bar. Now the differential surface area in a cylindrical coordinate system perpendicular to the radius, ds bar equal to r into d pi dz. R into d pi into dz. See, in this case, r is nothing but a radius of cylinder. That's why this is a general expression. So this we can write it as a. R should be replaced by a d pi dz. This is the surface area, differential surface area, which is perpendicular to the radius of the cylinder. This we can take it as a equation 4. Now we are finding the dot product between these two. D bar dot ds bar equal to dr a bar dot a d pi dz a r bar. Here a r bar there. Now the dr a dz everything is constant. Take outside. Now this is equal to dr into a into d pi into dz into ar dot ar. Now this value becomes a 1. The dot product of any two unit vectors becomes a 1. So this we can write it as a d bar dot ds bar equal to dr a d pi dz. A d pi dz. This we take it as a equation 5. This is representing the amount of flux leaving from the differential surface area. Now we want to find out how much the total flux leaving from the differential surface area means. Now we have to integrate the expression 5 throughout the lateral surface. Now here, now take the lateral surface, lateral d bar dot ds bar equal to double integral of dr a d pi dz. See here the two variables are there. One is pi, another one is the z. Now this is equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. See here the two variables are there. One is pi. The pi will be changing from 0 to 2 pi, where the dz, z is changing from 0 to length of the conductor. See here, this is the z. That we take it as a 0 to the L. The z value, because we have taken the Gaussian surface also on the z axis. So how much flux is leaving from the lateral surface means we have to integrate up to the length of the cylinder. In this case, we have taken the length of the cylinder is L. That's why the variable for the z is the 0 to the L. Now we have to complete this integration. This is equal to dra. This is constant, take outside. Integral of d pi where pi is changing from 0 to 2 pi into integral of dz, where z is changing from 0 to L. This is equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. Enclosed by the Gaussian surface QC. Now, we complete this integration. This is equal to dr into A. If we complete this integration, we are getting the value 2 pi. If we complete this integration, you are getting the value L. This is equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface QC. Now here, now we are going to find out the value of QC. How much charge is enclosed by the Gaussian surface? See here, infinity length of the conductor we place on the z-axis, but the Gaussian surface is not closing the total charge. How much charge is there from this point to this point? That amount of charge only closed by the Gaussian surface. So the amount of charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is equal to line charge density rho L into length of the cylinder. Length of the cylinder. Now QC becomes a rho L into L. This much of charge is enclosed by the Gaussian surface. We place the infinity charge on the z-axis, but the Gaussian surface is closing only this much of charge only. This much of charge. Now we have to equate these two. dr A 2 pi L equal to rho L into L. L gets cancelled. So whenever the L gets cancelled, so we have a dr 2 pi A equal to rho L. Equal to rho L. Now dr equal to rho L by 2 pi A. This is the magnitude of the flux density at a point P, nothing but on a Gaussian surface. On a Gaussian surface. So what is A here? The distance between the point where we have to find out the flux density to the line charge. To the line charge. Now, if we want to find out the electric field intensity means, see what is the, here this is the only magnitude. Now for this one we are adding the direction. Nothing but a R bar. Now what is the direction of this flux density? It will be placed in the direction of the radius of a cylinder. It will be placed in the direction of radius of a cylinder. Now if you want to find out the electric field intensity means, there is a one relation between the flux density to the electric field intensity. Electric field intensity E equal to dr bar by epsilon. Already we know the value of dr bar. This is equal to rho L by 2 pi A into AR bar. This is the final expression for the electric field intensity due to the line charge by using the Gauss law. You can also find the electric field intensity by using the Coulomb's law, but it is very tedious or it is very difficult. But through the Gauss law, you can easily derive the electric field intensity due to the infinity line charge. In this case, we are assuming that that is placed on the z-axis. That is placed on the z-axis. The final expression for the electric field intensity due to the line charge, which is placed on the z-axis, E bar equal to rho L by 2 pi A into AR bar. AR bar is nothing but a unit vector in the direction of radius of cylinder, where A is nothing but the distance between the line charge and point P, where we are going to find out the electric field intensity. What is the electric field intensity due to the infinity sheet, which is placed on the XY plane? Infinity sheet nothing but there is some sheet is there on which the charge is distributed. So because of the infinity sheet, now we are going to find out what is the electric field intensity due to the infinity charged sheet. So first of all, we are finding the electric field intensity not directly. First we are finding the flux density. From the flux density, we are finding the electric field intensity by applying the Gauss law. Take the this is the z axis, this is the y axis, this is the x axis. This is z axis. On the xy plane, we have taken the infinity sheet with a charge density of rho s. This is the distribution of the charge. Now, to find the electric field intensity due to the infinity sheet, see here the infinity is nothing but the area of the sheet is very high. The area of the sheet is very high. To find the electric field intensity due to the sheet, you have taken the Gaussian surface as a rectangular shaped tube as shown in the figure. This is the Gaussian surface. This is the Gaussian surface. This is perpendicular to the xy plane. This is perpendicular to the xy plane. Now, in this Gaussian surface, we are considering the, see if you observe closely means, this is the infinity sheet. This is the sheet of charge. You have taken the Gaussian surface from through the sheet. How much Gaussian surface is there in the top? The same amount of Gaussian surface also should be there in the bottom of the sheet. So in that manner you have taken. On the sheet here, you have taken the differential area. This is the differential area. This is the differential area. That we are showing with a hatched. This length is nothing but a dy, whereas this length is nothing but a dx. This area is nothing but a dx into dy. Now, what is the direction of this surface means? That is perpendicular to this area, nothing but a, in this direction, unit vector is az bar. This direction unit vector is az bar. See here, we have taken the charge infinity sheet on the xy plane, Next we have taken the Gaussian surface, which is passes through the charged sheet. How much length is there? Gaussian surface on top of the sheet. The same amount of length should be there below the Gaussian surface. This is the differential surface area, that is ds. Now the direction of the differential surface is towards in the direction of the z-axis. To solve this problem, we are considering only the Cartesian coordinate system. Now we are going to apply the Gauss law. The Gauss law states that the amount of flux leaving from the Gaussian surface, that is representing as a surface integral d bar dot ds bar equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. See this integration, this surface integration is representing the how much flux is leaving from the Gaussian surface. See in this case, if we observe this Gaussian surface, it has a three sides. One is lateral surface, top surface, as well as a bottom surface. Now this integration we are writing as in a sum of the three integrations. One is top d bar dot ds bar plus nothing but how much flux is coming from the top surface, bottom d bar dot ds bar, how much flux is leaving from the bottom surface, nothing but this surface, and this one top, lateral this side, lateral surface means this side, plus lateral d bar dot ds bar equal to charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. This you take it as a equation 1. Equation 1. See here, if we observe this diagram, on the xy plane, we kept the charge sheet, the electric field intensity always perpendicular to the sheet. Always perpendicular to the sheet. Suppose here, in this manner we place the sheet, the electric flux lines will be in this direction. Nothing but the z axis only the flux is there. In the z axis only the flux is there. There no flux is flowing in this direction, lateral. Nothing but there no flux is leaving from this lateral surface as well as this side. So in this integration, this value becomes a 0. This value becomes a 0. So why it is 0 means the flux due to the infinity sheet always in the direction of the z-axis. There no flux in the lateral direction. So the integration, the third integration becomes a 0. There no flux is leaving from the lateral surface. There no flux is leaving from the lateral surface. Now here, now we are going to find out the individually separately this integration and this part separately. Now if you take the top, d bar dot ds bar equal to d bar we can write it as a, see here, d bar we can write it as a d into az bar. Because the flux is in this direction, the flux density also will be in the z-axis direction. That's why d into az bar. So why you have taken the az bar means the flux density in the direction of the z-axis. In the direction of the z-axis. Next, ds bar. ds bar equal to nothing but this differential surface area. This is equal to this one. That is equal to dx into dy into az bar. Now substitute these two values here. If we substitute these two values here, d into az bar into dx into dy into az bar, this becomes a az bar dot az bar becomes a 1. This we can write it as a d into dx into dy. This we can write it as a d into a. What is a here? Area of the differential surface area. A is nothing but the area of the differential surface area. See, A is nothing but a area of differential surface area. Now this is representing the amount of flux which is leaving from the top surface. Now in the same manner, we are going to find out how much flux is leaving from the bottom surface, nothing but this surface. In this manner, we have taken the Gaussian surface. How much flux is leaving from this surface already we calculated. Now we are calculating how much flux is leaving from the bottom surface. Bottom d bar dot ds bar. Now here d bar equal to, in this case, d bar equal to d into minus of az bar. Below the sheet, the flux is in downward direction. The flux is in downward direction. That's why here we have taken the minus az bar. Minus az bar. So why you have taken the minus az bar means the flux is downward direction. Above the sheet, the flux in upward direction, whereas below the sheet, the flux in a downward direction. That's why here you have taken the minus Az bar. The same manner, ds bar equal to dx into dy into minus Az bar. Because this is the surface area. This area equal to dx into dy. But this direction is downwards. That's why we have taken the minus Az. Now substitute these two values, d bar and ds bar, at a bottom surface area. That we are substituting here, d into minus Az bar dot dx dy minus Az bar. This is equal to dz d into dx dy minus into minus becomes plus Az bar dot Az bar. This is equal to d into dx into dy. See here, this you take it as a equation 3, whereas this you take it as a equation 2. The dx and dy becomes a d into area of the sheet. Nothing but this you take as a 4. Equation 4. Equation 2 is representing the how much flux is leaving from the top surface, from the Gaussian surface. Equation 4 is representing the flux leaving from the bottom surface. Lateral surface, there is no flux is leaving from the lateral surface. That's why in this integration we made it 0. Now we are adding the equation 2 and equation 4 so that the left hand side of the Gaussian surface, Gauss law, becomes a completed. So if we add these two equations, that is equation 2 and equation 4, that is nothing but a d into a, area of the sheet, plus again d into a equal to qc, nothing but a charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. Charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. See here, these two values becomes a same value. So 2 into d into a equal to qc. Now the left hand side is over. What is qc here? qc is nothing but a charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. How much charge is enclosed? How much charge is enclosed means how much charge is there only in this area, that much of charge is enclosed. If the sheet is there, the total sheet is there, but you have taken only the Gaussian surface as a rectangular in this manner. So how much charge is there in this area? That charge only enclosed by the Gaussian surface, that we are calculating. The charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface, this value equal to surface charge density rho s, surface charge density of the sheet into area of this area, the differential area, nothing but a ds. In this case, we have taken the ds as a. ds as a. Now here, equate these two, 2dA equal to rho s into a gets cancelled. Again, for remembering, a equal to ds, ds equal to dx into dy. Don't confuse here. A equal to ds, ds equal to dx into dy, whereas that is represented in this diagram. Right? Now come to this equation. Now here, d equal to rho s by 2. This is the flux density due to the infinity sheet which is placed on the xy plane. Now what is the direction of this flux density? Now we have to add the direction into Az bar. So why we have taken the unit vector in the direction of the z axis means the flux emitting from the sheet which is placed on the xy plane, xy plane always perpendicular, the flux is always perpendicular to the sheet, that is in the direction of z axis. That is in the direction of z axis. That's why here we have taken the AZ bar. That's why here we have taken the AZ bar. Now, once we find the value of flux density, next we are going to find out the electric field intensity. We know the relation between the flux density and electric field intensity. Electric field intensity E bar equal to d bar by epsilon. Epsilon is nothing but a permittivity at the medium in which we are placing the charged sheet. Now this is equal to, in place of d bar you substitute this value, rho s by 2 epsilon Az bar. This is rho s. Now finally you can write it as a E bar equal to rho s by 2 epsilon Az bar. This is very, very important relation. Electric field intensity due to the infinity sheet is independent of the point where we are going to find out the electric field intensity. Suppose if you are assuming that the sheet is placed here, if you find the electric field intensity here or somewhere, the electric field intensity is same. It is not depending upon the point where we are measuring the electric field intensity from the infinity sheet. That is one point. The second one is that if you place the charged sheet on the xy plane, the direction of the electric field intensity in the z axis. That is perpendicular to this one. Suppose if you place the sheet on a yz plane, the electric field intensity in the x axis. If you place the electric sheet in this direction, z axis, the direction electric field intensity. Suppose if you place the sheet in this manner, in this direction, so always the electric field intensity always perpendicular to the infinity sheet, always perpendicular to the infinity. These are the 2 points what we have to understand from this equation. E bar equal to rho s by 2 epsilon Az bar. Rho s by 2 epsilon Az bar. Thank you.